the youth who are really the main guests here today, and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Vijana hoi! Vijana hoi! Wasichana hai! Wasichana hai! Thank you. I am very delighted to have been invited to come and be with you here this morning. But I want to begin first by conveying greetings from the UN Global Youth Champion, His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta. Who is on a state visit to the Caribbean. And when I talked to him this morning, some of you know about the Caribbean. When I was a young man, Caribbean had been made so popular by a singer called Harry Belafonte, who was really my greatest hero at that time. They used to sing the Jamaican farewell. Round the Bay of Mexico, where the sun shines daily on the mountain top. I took a trip on a sailing ship. When I reached Jamaica, I made a stop. So I am very happy that the youth are here, that we're celebrating a great occasion. So it is a privilege and a pleasure for me to be with you this morning for this year's New Youth Week. But let me begin by asking you a question that I was asked when I was your age. What is the fundamental difference between the youth and the aged or the old? I just want three people to hazard a guess. What is the fundamental difference between a youth and an older person? Energy? Nope. Time? No. Creativity? No. The fundamental difference between a youth and an older person is that the older person has at one time been a youth, but the youth has never been old. The old person knows what it means to be a youth. The youth does not know what it means to be an old person. That's the fundamental difference. So the theme of the intersection between the education and global opportunities ties well with the goal number 4 that is of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development that requires governments to ensure inclusive and sustainable quality education that promotes lifelong learning opportunities for all. I want to congratulate the Ministry of Public Service, Youth and Gender Affairs for the dedicated coordination of the observance of this day and for recent initiatives, including the transformation of our National Youth Service to ensure it serves our young people and our country. Kenya Integrated Household Budget Survey Labor Force Basic Report of 2016 shows that youth who lack early learning and basic education are the most vulnerable and most likely to experience unemployment. We all know that youth unemployment is a bomb waiting to explode, not only in Kenya, but also across Africa and much of the world. Africa is the youngest continent in terms of demography. About 70% of Africa's population below the age of 35. And therefore, Africa is a youthful continent, unlike Europe and America, which are aging continents. But now the youth bulge that we have in Africa can either be a blessing or a curse, depending on how you use it. If the youth are left completely unattended to, uneducated, without skills, then they become a drag on the society. They become drug addicts, delinquents, and criminals. But if they are empowered with proper skills, then they become a proper force for wealth creation in a society. And that is the direction that we want to go. We must therefore adequately transform education to become a powerful tool for achieving the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development of our national Big Four agenda. We must work at making education provide young people with a realistic, affordable, and attractive path to productive employment. Kenya has made robust strides in education over the last 7 years, with access to education improving significantly. I am aware that gross enrollment rate improved from 69.4% in 2012 to 77.1% in 2017. And by January this year, we had attained a 93% transition rate from primary to secondary levels education. This is a process that began way back in 2003, when the NAC government introduced a free primary education, and has been ongoing up to now. Despite these strides, education mismatch with the industry remains a big challenge. While there are more educated young people looking for work, employers say they cannot find the skills they need. The labor market is suffering from this significant skills mismatch. That you have got people with paper qualifications running around looking for jobs. Then you have got industry also looking for skills which are not available. The qualification and experiences that the young job seekers possess clearly do not align with what employers are looking for. This means that even as young people struggle to find work, and millions are out there seeking jobs, many high-skilled jobs remain unfilled. Left without the type of training they need to meet the demand for highly specialized skilled labor, young people, especially in the developing world, risk being left further behind. There is therefore need to do more to focus young people, employers, and education providers on improving employment readiness. There's need to give our students more and more better quality information about different career paths. There's also need for our education to focus more on what happens to students after they leave school. Education providers have no option but to work more closely with employers to make sure they are offering courses that really help the young people prepare for workplace. We must also do away with a situation where employers sit and wait for the right applicants to show up at their doorsteps. We need to create an environment where employers and education providers work closely to design curriculum that fits business needs. We need to work on providing on-the-job apprenticeship system that has worked for other thriving economies. In some advanced economies, like China and Germany, employers even participate in teaching by providing instructors. This is an area in which the United Nations has a lot to share with the government and partners present here today. As a country, we are agreed that transforming education to connect with local and global opportunities is a must if we want to succeed and be among the world leaders. I am informed that it is against this background that the government has rolled out the competency-based curriculum, that is CBC, with the aim of emphasizing the significance of developing skills and knowledge and also applying those competencies to real-life situations. I am further informed that the focus of CBC is to inculcate competencies in 7 key areas, namely communication and collaboration, critical thinking and problem solving, creativity and imagination, citizenship, digital literacy, learning to learn, and self-efficacy. This is expected to lead to the emergence of innovative and transformative minds from our education system, able to provide solutions to the challenges besetting our society. We are alive to the fact that the technological changes sweeping the globe, including rapid advances in automation, artificial intelligence, and robotics, will likely worsen the problem of mismatch between skills and employment opportunities. I'm aware that it is in this regard that the Ministry of Public Service, Youth and Gender is implementing the Kenya Youth Empowerment and Opportunities Project with the support of about 15 billion shillings grant from the World Bank. The program is currently being implemented in 17 counties, seeking to provide skills to the youth and increasing their employment and earning opportunities through training and entrepreneurship support. It is our wish that the agencies present here join hands to expand and upscale the program to cover the entire country. The government is also implementing the Ajira Digital Project being spearheaded by the Ministry of Information and Communication Technology to empower over 1 million young people to access digital job opportunities. If implemented according to plan, the project will position Kenya as a choice labor destination for multinational companies, as well as encourage local companies and public sector to create digital and online work. The government is also striving to reform and revamp the National Youth Service to make it more responsive to current demands. This institution holds tremendous potential and needs support to enable it to cater especially for segments of our youth that are not geared towards white-collar employment. I know many of us associate this institution with corruption, but I note with satisfaction that many structural, management, and procurement and financial changes have taken place. All these efforts, ladies and gentlemen, are geared towards addressing the problem of youth unemployment and ensuring education meets the practical needs of our people. We need the helping hand of everybody. And we need to, as I mentioned earlier on, to ensure that youths are imparted with the requisite skills so that they can be a force for wealth creation. A country like China and India have done this to great success. In China, they first spent a lot of resources in imparting skills so that when they liberalized the economy, they became a major attractive force for investments. That's why very many multinational corporations rush to China to set up a manufacturing plant there. If you look at most of these big corporations, Mercedes, General Motors, the Ford, the Toyota, the Hyundai, the Peugeot, the BMW, most of these motor manufacturing companies are all in China. They'll tell you that it is cheaper to manufacture Mercedes-Benz in China and transport it to Germany than the one that is made in Stuttgart in Germany, because of the low cost and the highly skilled manpower that's available in China. And that's the trend, that's the direction that we need to go in our country, imparting skills to our people. And as we know that China is now becoming more affluent, and therefore is no longer as cheap as it used to be, there's a gap that is being left down there, which can be filled by countries like ours, like Kenya. So the root is empowering our people through skills and education. My daughter is my expert, my actually advisor on youth affairs, called Winnie. She's not here. But I told her I was coming to talk to you, and I told her to give me some notes, what she thinks I should say. And this is what Winnie has put down. She's saying that Africa's problems has never been quality of education, but access to it. Building schools and classrooms takes many months, and the population is growing at a speed that is making it difficult for government to keep up. So what the governments need to do is focus on increasing access to the internet. The internet is the solution to many problems that Africa has. Distance learning and online learning are bridging the gaps globally. Nowadays, there are the mobile phone apps that allow students from around the world to access world-class technology from Ivy League universities. When it comes to the educational facilities, rural Africans are at a disadvantage compared to their urban counterparts, who will also still lag behind their competitors from first world countries. That is why we must embrace technology. Technology does not differentiate between third world and first. It is an equalizer that puts all our children on the same level. We need to take advantage of technology and allow our children to compete. Every week, I get requests for harambes from families struggling to send their children to universities abroad. They need visas, flights, accommodation, tuition, pocket money, and much more. These costs are usually too high for the family to bear. The student ends up dropping out of university to pick up odd jobs here and there in order to compete. However, technology cuts all of these costs. The student simply needs a laptop and access to the internet and can study from home. As a society, we have to challenge ourselves to go beyond our norms. Education is beyond the classroom. The world is moving rapidly, and we need to develop new ways to keep up with it. Winnie Odinga. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.